What's up, everyone? The Vibe Kage here, trying another what if that, you know what, I just feel like I have bad luck sometimes. This is the third time I'm trying today for a different one. So I tried to continue the, ancient clan and clan marriage Naruto, which quirk marriage Deku, it's not on, it's technically a hiatus, but only because I'm stuck, and if I'm stuck, I can't really go with it. So yeah, sorry, not sorry. Oh well. If you have a problem with it, pay me. If you don't pay me, oh well. And continuing on with the what if, as you know, oh shit, I dropped my phone. As Naruto, he decides, after his month of training, oh, I forgot to mention this. Well, I think I did. Jiraiya never trained Naruto, but he did look for Naruto. However, despite Jiraiya's senjutsu abilities, he never found him because Naruto's Jiganai was actually greater than the range of sensory than Jiraiya's, Sage Mode, due to it not being perfected. If he ever perfected it, then he probably would have found him. Now you'll see, this is where things get more fun. Now, Naruto, because he's able to actually outsense Jiraiya than Jiraiya not being able to sense him, and thanks to Kurama now technically causing his body to experience an open chakra, he has something cool that his Jigan allows him to do. Something, that doesn't actually require Kurama's chakra, that he didn't even realize he gained, due to the fact that, it was only briefly, but he did sense the Senjutsu chakra coming from Orochimaru. And now that he sensed the Senjutsu chakra, I dropped my Xbox controller. As now that he sensed the Senjutsu chakra coming from Jiraiya, it's two different versions of the same thing. But no matter what it is, his Jigan, it decided to... I just popped my knee. It decided to give Naruto a special boost, and that is Senjutsu. Enslavement of the nature chakra, all within the vicinity, within, his Jigan's sensory capabilities. There's an added ability that comes with this, as Naruto's Senjutsu pretty much would look like the fusion of, that Kurama mode and regular Sage Jutsu. But it's not Kurama's chakra, it's just an abundance of nature chakra that, thanks to the Jigan, it is kind of warped and dark, but it's also the mixture of nature itself. This is also Orochimaru, based with Orochimaru's, dragon inorganic sage mode, with the toads, their abilities. Now, granted, does he know what they can do? No! But due to him being able to pretty much understand what he needs to, it's just not too far away. He's developed a few new techniques combining some things thanks to his senjutsu ability, so we'll get to that later. As we cut to the day before the Chunin exams fights. The brackets are still relatively the same with with Choji replacing Shino in... No. Shino would have beat Choji, actually, because of the Chakra Beetles. So, the brackets are still the same. So, Shino versus Kankuro, Temari versus Shikamaru, Gaara versus Sasuke, and Naruto versus Neji. Now, the day before, Naruto gets a visitor. It's Kurenai Sensei. She actually asks out Naruto to join her for some food. Take her out to eat. No, take him out to eat. Naruto's confused but accepts because he knows that she has other reasons. He's already read her mind with the Jigan, so he knows that she's gonna leave, Hinata's gonna show up, and pretty much make it where the two have alone time and talk. Naruto realizing that Hinata does need, like, is desperately trying to tell him something, he'll pity it and go along. You know, it happens pretty much as they planned, but with the slight difference of, when Hinata shows up, Naruto saying, "Okay, Kurenai, this is probably when you say you gotta go," and Hinata tells me whatever she wants, right? As, the two stop, look at each other, then look at Naruto. As Naruto, he placed a hand on his, you know, chin, and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't know if your plan is that obvious or if I'm just smart, but, you know, please just sit down. If you're gonna pay for the meal, might as well eat here too, As Kurenai, her stomach does growl, as she's just like, I'm sorry. As, she sits down, Hinata sits down, the three end up having a conversation, and it's mostly Hinata explaining she does like Naruto, but because of her father, they can't be together. But she's training really hard and really strong to, you know, impress him, to show she's not weak. And maybe when Hanabi takes over the Hyuga household, she can change it and allow them to be together. This was not the answer Naruto wanted. You see, though Hinata is showing signs of change, it is not enough for Naruto to actually, deem it worthy. Where he decides, he admits it. While Hinata is very attractive and he did like her, this whole being subservient to someone else's will, it's actually not really doing it for him. Granted, he did help Hinata because he sees her potential, and that's what he's drawn to. He knows Hinata could be a pretty badass Konoichi if she tried her hardest. And he does believe that she could achieve it, but, her current mindset is still a heavy shackle that she needs to, untether herself from, as she's weighing herself down, and these weights, though mental barriers, are what's going to prevent her growth. And if that's the case, by the time she realizes this, Naruto is going to be way, way too far. Not even close to where he could actually see them. The gap in their strength would be that wide. Naruto, he decides, to pity them. He removes his headband. They see that there's a bandage there. The bandage would glow. No, keep in mind, the bandage is just glowing. No one else is seeing the bandage glow. They just see the bandage. As Naruto then enters them into the Mindscape and shows them Kurama. He explains that, he's trained diligently and his power is getting closer to rivaling this. The monster that, supposedly attacked the leaf, and then Naruto tells him, yeah, no, that was a bunch of bullshit. There's a guy pretending to be Madara Uchiha. And the reason why he says pretending is that he believes, if anything, it's more likely that someone would use his name just to strike in terror. Now, granted, chances are he might be related to Madara Uchiha, and that's why he's so strong. It makes the most sense for him to think that way, which, for the sake of this story, why not? I'm gonna make it where, Obito's actually related to Madara. Which, yeah, it kind of does change the whole, like, why'd you save me? Because I could. Why'd you save me? Well, turns out you're related to me. I'm dying. But before I die, I'm gonna give you some cool shit. Dun dun dun. No changing. I'm fucking with y'all. But, that's just an extra, a little extra layer that I thought would be entertaining. So yes, in this one, Obito was actually related to Madara, and it gave Madara the extra oomph to want to help him. He is going to give Rin back in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. But, he wants to put Obito in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. So, continuing on with the what if, as Naruto, he explains that his training has pushed him to a level, that will rival the Kage's. And he's still technically a Genin. He's way stronger than anything that they could ever do. And Hinata is still just that of a Genin. By the time she realizes, the restraints that she has on herself, Naruto would be well beyond this. And, well, Naruto openly states it. He's going to try and get power that rivals all the 10, not all the 10, all the 9-tailed beasts. He'll find a way to release Kurama so he doesn't have to rely on his power. Kurenai Sensei was instantly like, hey, hear me out here? How about we don't release the fox that destroyed the village? As Naruto saying, okay, I hear you. Now here's my counter. I'm gonna do it anyway. Oh, Naruto, you dick. As, Kurenai, she sighs, but she really asks Naruto, what makes you think that you can control it? As Naruto's saying, not controlling? Me and Kurama are actually friends. As, this is when they notice something. The cage is there, but Kurama can actually just walk out. As to their surprise, the nine-tailed fox Kurama shifts and forms all of its chakra, condensing it down into a small fox form. It also has 9 tails as it goes towards Naruto, just easily through the bridge, through the cage doors, because, it's just thin enough. As Kurama states that it's been able to compress its chakra like this, able to help out Naruto, thanks to Naruto now learning Senjutsu, which Kurenai eyes widen. She's saying, how did you learn Senjutsu? Avoiding Jiraiya, almost killing Orochimaru. Kinda just too easy. As he points to his eye, he's saying, before this eye, most jutsus are kinda meaningless. The way energy flows, I can understand it all, and then I can find its weakness, and then I can find a way to amplify it with my own. As, Naruto still has the bandages even in the Mindscape, which Kurenai would ask about. As Naruto saying, yeah, that's, something he's not planning to reveal yet. As she's bold, but she assumes it anyway. She's saying, is that the arm that, caused that weird monster to make Orochimaru run away? Saying, oh, you've heard about it? The witness is saying it was a dragon of flames, of black flames. And the only thing I know about black flames is the dojutsu of the Uchihas called Amaterasu. So if you say the truth and those flames are improved of the Amaterasu, then Naruto saying, yeah, they're better. As Naruto even says, he's already mastered them, and since it's not a burden on his eyes, he won't ever go blind from using his black flames. They don't burn him anymore. They can't. His body has adjusted to this temperature, so even if he fights an Uchiha with Amaterasu, and they land on Naruto, they're not gonna burn him. In fact, his Jirgon would be able to put it out himself. Which, haha, Tachi, haha, Sasuke, go eat a dick. Now, we go to a special, fight between Naruto and Neji. Because you see Naruto has now adamantly turned down Hinata, but he did promise her one thing. He is going to show Neji the bullshit of destiny and kinda beat into him the whole Hinata is not going to be blamed for something her father did. Yo, I want to kill her dad. You want to kill her dad. I feel like we could be friends. You know, at least befriending Neji because he doesn't see himself being friends with the weak-minded Hinata, a weak-willed Hinata. He's gonna give her a chance eventually. Like, he's saying, once these tuning exams are done, he plans to go training outside the village for a few years. And when he comes back, he looks forward to seeing the progress that she makes. So he's not turning her down completely, but he does tell her that, not to wait for him, as, you know, he's going to be looking for a strong woman for himself. And, yeah. Now, you see, this is where things are going to get a bit more fun. For you see, when Jiraiya actually finally meets Naruto, he tries to explain to Naruto what he knows about the Akatsuki and how after this he's going to try and take him on a training trip, which Naruto would just tell him absolutely not. He has no need to learn from someone he already has surpassed. And, he welcomes the Akatsuki to challenge him, for he knows he's stronger. As, Neji, Naruto, they're facing off, as Naruto tells Neji that, one, you're gonna lose. Two, destiny is bullshit. And three, after I beat the shit out of you, let's try and do this thing called friendship, which I could get you might not want to be, but think of it better this way. After I whoop your ass, and if we're friends, that means I would never have to whoop your ass again. So you'd only have to experience this once. But if you oppose this friendship, then chances are you're going to get your ass whooped multiple times. Which Neji scoffs at, and, surprise of everyone, Naruto would shut his eyes, and then there would be a shift in the air. The breeze would suddenly halter. The air gets really thick. A pressure starts to emanate from Naruto. Neji quickly activates Byakugan as, he sees it. Naruto, despite having the forehead protector, there's something in his forehead glowing, causing an immense amount of chakra from around the whole Leaf Village. Even outside the Leaf Village, he feels that there's an insane amount of chakra just rushing towards Naruto. As then, it stops. The chakra around Naruto's body, it looks intense as it calms within him. His body actually alters as his body bulks up, double in size. Claws emanate from his hands. His whisker marks become more defined. His teeth come down. His eyes shift. There's a distinct color palette on his eyes, as strange, a mixture of orange and red seem to be his, sage mode. Not too much to change, but this is what is changed. As, around on the bridge of his nose, I can't edit it and I won't, but the same markings that would appear on Orochimaru's, those purple ones, they form, and that's what's red instead of purple. It's shifting from a red outline from the bridge of his nose to an orange out hue to the corner of his eyes. Now, there is actually more to this, as his ears also spike up. His hair does become more jagged and wild. Now, people do not know what this is. However, behold, as Naruto has shown off his new Fox Sage mode, as he named it in homage of Kurama. Both Kuramas, actually. As, He actually says it out loud. This is something I practice. It took me no more than a month. I'll give to you Fox Sage mode. As he gets down on all fours, you know, the moment he does, the earth crumbles at the weight of his hands. He gets his body ready. Neji's already in his stance, but his body's trembling. And he doesn't know why. He doesn't want to admit that he's afraid. He's constantly saying, "What is this? Why? Why can't I stop shaking? What is the pressure coming off of him? What is he?" As Naruto moves so fast that none of them, and I do mean no one there, not even the Kages, which, yes, Orochimaru is watching this and he is traumatized and having PTSD flashbacks, I shit you not, as he realizes this Naruto, yeah, no, he gonna die if this Naruto kills him. No, fights him, my bad. He's gonna die if this Naruto kills him. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeti does it. As Naruto proceeds to body Neji quite viciously and very abusively. You see, Naruto would not hold back, and in just straight taijutsu alone, annihilate Neji. Neji's on the ground. He's looking up at Naruto, as Naruto would raise up one of his clawed fingers, as a little red light would start to form. Everyone's seeing this, and then, what's really weird is then the whole arena seems to be not engulfed, but shone and washed over with this bright red light, all coming from this small dot coming from Naruto's finger. It's just the source of all this red light. It actually covers the whole, arena. Everyone sees red. It's really weird. They all realize that from the center of Naruto's finger, it looks like a white dot, as it's pointed towards Neji. As he tells Neji, do you give up? As Neji says, no, I refuse. As, he springs to his feet, goes to dash to Naruto, as Naruto saying, Fox Cannon. Nani? What? As, he says, Fox Cannon, as he shoots the trigger, the little white light instantly, not condenses, but not the white light. Correction. He says Fox Cannon, as at that very instance, all the red light quickly engulfed Neji, as at the very center of his stomach was the white dot, all instantaneously. So, everyone didn't even realize that the red light just pretty much engulfed Neji, as Neji is now inside the energy blast. As then it detonates. A huge explosion, a crater, leaving Neji's, barely, he's about to die, honestly. He's on the verge of death. He's dying. Everyone knows this. As Naruto casually walks up, to the surprise of everyone, as he pulls out a seed, which, in his clawed fingers, the energy sprouts as a vine starts to form. He throws it. It lands right over Neji's head, goes into the ground, and then a giant, and I do mean a giant, yellow rose appears from the ground, as everyone is seeing this, as Naruto saying sage art, moonlit rose, droplet of life, as ding, a little dewdrop or droplet of mystical chakra plot armor, bullshit, as it drops on Neji. Neji glows with green chakra, and then he quickly sits up saying, Father, I understand. As he looks to Naruto and he's saying, so, I was right. In that near-death state, you could talk to your dad. As Neji's eyes widen, and he's saying, um, I'm good. I'm good. He looks at Genma, saying, hey, yo, I'm done. I don't think I can fight him anymore. So, the whole crowd is cheering and erupting at whatever the fuck they just saw. Now, no one in, the ninjas, the Chunins, Genins, Jonins have no fucking idea what the hell they just saw. They're all confused on what the hell this Fox Sage mode is, as they saw definitely two jutsus. One is an energy blast, and then one that, kind of seems like a Deo Ex Machina of undoing any and all damage to a human body. As they were 1,000,000% sure that Neji was going to die, and, just a little droplet from a simple seed was able to grow into a giant flower, and then he healed. So, as they're looking to Naruto, those who could sense chakra could still see that his chakra reserves, they're not even dented, my guy. Naruto is actually still in the Fox Sage mode, as, in case you're wondering, he was able to absorb the Senjutsu chakra from around the entire Leaf Village. All combined and condensed down into Naruto. Due to the Jagan and Kurama's chakra, because this is a Fox Sage mode. So you see, it's not using Kurama's chakra, but thanks to Kurama's chakra that lingers inside Naruto, it gives him the Fox boosts, in a sense. The heightened abilities of what QB mode would have done. So, yeah. The added benefit of this is that Naruto, he can actually absorb the Sage chakra from nature much more than just like a little bit. He could do it as if he drained it damn near out of all of its chakra. So he absorbed half of the entire forest's power. Those who could sense chakra felt that Naruto was pulling an insane amount of chakra into his body. And the fact that he's still containing it worries them and frightens them. Especially the Sand, Gaara, who, he's still watching in the audience. He's just like, Mother, you will soon have his blood. As Naruto would look over towards Gaara, he would smirk, and then he would body flicker. He would appear behind Temari, as, Temari, who was bending over, watching on the railings, she was just, like, in awe. Naruto, he just, like, lifts up her skirt. He's pulling a Yusuke with a Kekkei right now. I shit you not. He lifts up her skirt, looks at her panties, and saying, oh, huh, nice and fraily. Lacy. Nice. As my man Bold, as he blows, which startles the shit out of Temari. She screams, eeps. She realizes what Naruto had done. She didn't even sense Naruto behind her. She didn't even realize that he had lifted up her skirt and peeked. She's embarrassed. She tried to hit him with the giant fan, which ended with Naruto blocking it with a single pinky claw. As she couldn't make her fan budge, moving forward. Naruto laughed as he's saying, chill. I just wanted to have some fun, but not like that. I didn't think you'd scream. As he's saying, he wants her to win because he knows she's strong. But he does give her the whole underestimating Shikamaru is not a good thing because, he might seem lazy, but he's actually really smart. And chances are he's already figured out at least 100 ways to defeat her. So, Godspeed. As he relaxes his pinky and then pushes back her fan and body flickers away. Temari hates him right now, but I digress. As, their fight would still go as normal. Everything kind of still proceeds as normal. When it gets to the whole Lee versus Sasuke fight, when Lee goes into the 6 gates, Sasuke would go into his Sharingan. He's actually forced into the curse mark, which everyone sees. Orochimaru has a shit-eating grin, but then to the surprise of everyone, Sasuke starts to actually outpace Lee when he's in his 4th gate. Keep in mind, I'm saying 4th gate right now. Soon Lee able to, momentarily look at Sasuke's eyes, he sees that Sasuke's eyes had changed and had matured into the 3 Temari. So Lee kicks it up into the 5th gate to rush, which, it does balance it out again. However, Lee can kick it up one more time. But, unfortunately for both Lee, Guy, and, well, I guess by extension everyone else who's rooting for Lee, Sasuke backs away. He decides that, it's time that he shows Lee something fun. As, thanks to his Sharingan and fighting against Lee, seeing his fight against Gaara, he gets it. Oh. Yeah, he gets it. Or at least the first 3. Which Lee's saying, what? As Sasuke would then say, a gate formation. And then he would proceed to open the first 3 gates, giving Sasuke the exact same, outlook on, with the red pigmentation, but the curse marks are still on his face. His Sharingan eyes, are still active, but the aura around him is purple rather than green or blue. Lee enters the 6th gate, but would ultimately lose this fight to Sasuke actually breaking Lee's leg with a Chidori. He went to go and stab Lee. Lee would block with a dynamic entry. The force of Sasuke's stabbing motion was more than Lee's kick, due to that one single point. And though it did pierce Lee's foot, Sasuke didn't just go through Lee's foot. His hands did go through, but the electricity actually ended up severing Lee's tendons in his foot, completely making it worthless. Lee would actually need to have his foot amputated for this, as there was actually more damage through his leg, where I'm gonna say his left leg, because I don't want him to lose his right leg. His left leg actually sustained damage to where he can't always bend his knee now. He can't swing it like he could. His entire left side is actually twitchy. His left arm jumps more. It would, on occasions, just spasm out. Every now and then he would have a throbbing sensation on where his foot would have been. But that's unfortunately what happens to Lee. You see, Sasuke on this one actually would break his hand. It's fucked up. However, there was something that did happen that, no one really thought would happen. You see, during this fight, Sasuke inadvertently grew to respect and admire Lee's hard work. He actually gave Lee respect and wanting to, fight Lee all out. So he brought out his strongest jutsu. He didn't want to, seemingly end Lee's ninja career. So this brought him a great sadness. The match did have to be called in Sasuke's favor, but the shock of what Sasuke had done, potentially ending the career of a worthy rival, someone who he could use to help motivate himself get stronger, and that person in turn would also get stronger. Someone similar to Naruto, but not as strong, so Sasuke could still feel superior, but he knew Lee could help motivate him. But this hurt him. To the surprise of Guy, Kakashi, Naruto didn't really give a fuck, but Orochimaru wet himself, as they would see a six-sided star ripple pattern in Sasuke's eyes. Yeah, I'm making Sasuke unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan only in the sense that he feels immense grief and regret at not crippling Lee necessarily. It's kind of that, but it's also the fact that, he kind of got overconsumed with this power, and it almost ended up, killing Lee. He didn't want that. He thought he does want to kill Itachi, but, the thought of killing another Leaf Shinobi, that wasn't really good for him. He didn't like that. He didn't like how that felt. And thus, the Mangekyo Sharingan is born out of complex emotions. A complex emotional reaction that Sasuke had. Now, will he have full control over this? Absolutely not. But the pain does cause him to collapse, and though Sasuke won, he is deemed unfit to continue, and the exhaustion of awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan does take an effect on him. Now, how this works is, Kabuto, rather than defend Orochimaru, the Sound Four would do the barrier. Kabuto would actually kidnap Sasuke during this arc, so we don't have the Sound Four invading to kidnap him and him fighting Naruto. Rather, we just have Orochimaru abducting his ass. I feel those two words are way too similar to be coincidence. That just might be me. Anyway, continuing on with this, Temari versus Naruto. This is when, Shukaku would sprout from the forest. The feather illusion genjutsu invasion pretty much kicks off. But a horrible thing happens, as Naruto would jump up, laugh, and sing, "It's showtime!" As, I will watch this later, I swear, my guy. As his forehead protector bursts off, not burns, as then the forehead bandage then glows, showing an eye, but it's glowing red. Hear me out here. This is what's about to happen. As a red flame appears, burning the bandage away, Naruto enters KCM2, erupts in the Kurama Chakra mode for the first time, as from there, he decides to weave hand signs as Kurama, slam down as he's saying, "Sage Mode, Senmon Sagara, Kageyoshi." As, throughout the entire leaf village, cherry blossom trees sprout, and then the leaves, the petals, all of them go off of the trees. It looks very pretty. The whole leaf village is then surrounded by these petals. And then they quickly make mincemeat out of Orochimaru's summonings, out of the sound force, and sound and sand forces, completely turning them into a massacre. To the surprise of everyone. As then Naruto with Kurama would be weaving the hand signs. Naruto inside and Kurama on the outside. Then they would say, "Sage Mode, Red Rose Massacre." As then the bullet-soaked cherry blossom petals would then spring up, go towards the sky. It's spinning around, and actual giant roses are formed. Now, this is what happens. From there, They shoot out and go to attack Orochimaru, who, he's already holding heroes in hostage. The Sound 4 had opened their barrier. Naruto is actively trying to break the barrier right now. Shukaku, he starts making a mess. Naruto would sense Shukaku as he makes a shadow clone. From here, he would sprout out, his real self. The clone and Kurama would go as after they were able to break through the barrier, Naruto would enter. He's still in his Fox Sage mode. So, he decides to tell Lord Third to get the fuck out. He is in the mood to make himself a new white snake belt, maybe a wallet. Hell, after he gets his four subordinates here, he can give Hiruzen some boots to match a belt. Fuck it, why not give a purse to fucking Hinata too? Why not? As Hiruzen saying, Hinata, what does she have to do with this? As Naruto saying, I guess you could say she's my friend. My first friend that's a girl, but not a girlfriend. As Orochimaru is just like, that makes very little sense. As Naruto saying, yeah, what can I say? Something about it wants me to trigger you. Why? I don't know. I don't need to make sense. It's not what I want to do. As Naruto would disappear, kick Orochimaru in the goddamn stomach, sending him flying, about to break through the barrier, honestly, until the Sound 4 actually open it, allowing Orochimaru to, go through. The Sound 4 decide, alright then, plan has just been shit on and thrown out the window. Let's go find Orochimaru. 29% bet. As I'm just not trying to have my phone be at 15, like a couple minutes before I have to go to work, which actually is probably what's gonna happen. So, oof. You see, the Sound 4 decide, divide and conquer. As 3 of them go to stand as defense for Orochimaru, as the other one would go with Kabuto to go make sure that Sasuke is taken and there's no witnesses. So, yes, we have Tsuyuya who goes with Kabuto to get Sasuke, and Naruto in his Fox Sage mode would take on, Orochimaru's 3 Sound 4, who would go into their second stage curse marks to try and attempt to fight Naruto, but be utterly bodied due to Naruto's better use of chakra. Of Sage chakra, actually. Here's the thing. Naruto would actually pull out one of his swords to fight them. And, of course, none of them would have swords, but he decides this would be the only advantage that they would have. Throw any jutsu they want, he will just use his sword and his enhanced strength. They decide to go with it, as one would be shooting out his spider webs and arch and weird arrows, sending out thousands of spiders to spit out venom, trying to bite Naruto and bind him. Saikon would be using earth and water jutsu and fire jutsu. Jiroba would be trying to hit Naruto, on the occasions trying to trap him in some earth walls and earth domes, which Naruto would just be slicing through everything. It's like his sword is made out of molten tachyon blades, and everything is just butter, as it's just too easy for him. Naruto, after getting bored with this, he decides, this is going to be fun if I pull out another technique. He decides to, from his pouch, pull out a basic sword handle. He tosses it up, as then he decides this is something that he's worked on. It's something that he had to made using some materials that is supposed to help repel chakra and keep it suppressed. But at the same time, that's only in the core of it, where he has to pump all the chakra through. Once he actually pushes outwards, On the outside of the handle of the blade, or where the chakra would form, is an amplifier that would multiply the chakra 100-fold. Doing this, Naruto would pump through his chakra, and a rainbow blade of chakra would be formed. Naruto, it doesn't really have a decent form. It's very jagged looking. Naruto, of course, being the first time he used it, he would take a deep breath in, shut his eyes, focus his mind, as then the blade would start to morph. The jaggedness would start to buzz and move similar to a chainsaw motion, and then slowly form into a smooth, regular blade, similar to how a katana would form, from it. As it condensed and narrowed, it refined itself, as then Naruto saying, "There, this should work perfectly," as this is Naruto's chakra trial sword, if you will, as he would rush in, and to the horror of our first victim, Jirobo, when Naruto sliced him, his chakra was cut as well, which, not that Naruto cut Jirobo, basically, he's still going to be slashing out blood, but when Naruto pulled away his blade, Jirobo's chakra instantly was spewed from the wound. Jirobo, even the curse mark chakra, was being sent out into the air. As Naruto smiles, he didn't realize that would happen. Apparently, his chakra blade not only cuts and kills people, but it can cut people's chakra coils to a degree that all their chakra is pretty much forced out of their body. It is compelled outward, as Naruto would then charge to the other two. I'm back. I just had to deal with some things. Shit, where was I? Yes. You see, the remaining 2 out of the 3 that witnessed their friend dying want to not die a gruesome fate, so they asked Naruto this. How about he joins Orochimaru? Orochimaru could definitely show Naruto ways beyond what lie in the hidden leaf, as Naruto saying, "Nah." Well, he does understand the whole concept of wanting to learn things well outside the hidden leaf. He doesn't want to, risk his soul for a pedo snake. And, to the surprise of many, Naruto even admits he does want to leave the Leaf Village, but only so he can gather information, build the worldview, and how to affect it. Change it for the better. Of course, he knows how destructive the Leaf Village has been, and he wants to rectify it. He has no intentions of ignoring the sins of the Leaf, and nor does he ever want to try and purge the sins, of any other nations. He just doesn't think that the future generation should be bound by the sins of their fathers. Realizing this, Naruto even admits he knows what his father has done, and he honestly couldn't care less. He hates his father? No. He hates his mother? No. He hates the village? No. He just doesn't really care. He's actually grown to understand why they did what they did. He understood that, to Minato, he had an insane amount of faith in his son, an insane amount of faith in Naruto. And, that's a very heavy burden once Naruto realized it. But he realized one thing himself. The 4th Hokage, who put his duty to the village over his family, made the decision to seal a monster within Naruto. Because he knew Naruto would be able to achieve something that no one else could. And, though it sounds kind of fucked up, Naruto's okay with this. He actually revels in the idea of doing something like that. It's actually something worthy to challenge him, something that actually helped him strive to actually obtain knowledge. It's a really high goal that's very demanding, but he wants to reach it. It's a level that he has to reach. So, Naruto kindly declines their offer to join Orochimaru, but also tells them that, if they just stick out their necks and bow before him, his decapitation will be quick and painless. As, the two, well, technically three, because Saikon and Ukon are 2 and 1. I don't know how to explain that. That's kind of weird. It's a 2-for-1 special. That's what twins are. You couldn't pull out twice. Back to the what if. I'm just talking with my brother's dad. He never married my mom, so I have no relation to him, but he's a pretty chill guy, I'm not gonna lie. His name is Demetrio, so Dimitri, the Spanish version. So if y'all have never met a Dimitri, I technically have. I've just met the Spanish version. We're very different people, but I wouldn't say we really don't get along. We just don't talk to each other. We don't really need to. It's just one of those silent understanding. I'm not gonna fuck shit up for you, and I promise to, help out with the house. Your kids are my siblings. That means something to me. I care for my younger siblings. So we have a common thing to protect, and that's pretty much how I see it. I don't know how he sees it, but then again, we don't talk, so it's weird, I know. But I feel like I don't need to talk about it. I feel like it's an unspoken understanding. I see you care for your kids. They happen to be my siblings. Though I have no connection to you, I care for them as well. So through that, we are fine. That mutual, the friend of a friend. You can't really be mad of a friend if you have no beef. Right? It seems pointless, so might as well just get along, even if it's awkward. And that's kind of it. We have like those nice, every now and then we have cool moments and laugh, but I digress. As back to the what if, Orochimaru, from Orochimaru's perspective, he got his shit slapped. He realizes, sound forward, okay, they're already dying for me, I'm leaving. The shinobi forces that he had built are dead. He tells Kabuto, get Sasuke, leave. They do manage it. Orochimaru does escape. And, the other two don't die. Just because Hiruzen stops Naruto, because they want to keep him alive for interrogations and knowledge resources. As Naruto says, fine, but he decides, why not do something fun? So, moving at greater speed than the guys could respond, Naruto would cut them right above the curse mark, causing chakra to spew out of them. This is mostly Orochimaru's chakra that's being refused from the curse mark, as he cut the jutsu, my guy. As Orochimaru's chakra spews out of them, the curse mark fades. Now their chakra spewing out of them, they're falling down, as then Naruto's hands are coated with flames, as then he just claws them right where he scratches them. It burns, but the slash is gone, as they pass out due to chakra exhaustion and the fact that Naruto kinda just cut them 3 times over. So we now go to the perspective of Clone Naruto and Chakra Avatar Kurama against Shukaku Gaara, which ends pretty hilariously with Shukaku awakening, seeing Kurama come at him, and he's saying, yes, now I can get my revenge on you, as he's about to go hit his stomach to launch an air bullet, where, unfortunately for him, the cherry blossoms come in, form a shield blocking them. Now, inside, the clone Naruto weaves some hand signs. He decides to use more of his senjutsu while he still has it. Kurama tells him, just be careful. As Kurama then says, not Kurama, but Naruto saying, Sage mode, senjutsu, which in other words, sage art, instead of sage mode, my bad, as he says, sage art, binding vines, as from the ground, thousands of, thick green vines wrap around Shukaku. And of course, Shukaku being made out of sand means they sink into his body. However, this is actually what Naruto wanted, as then, the vines start to glow. And then from the thorns, something starts to sprout, a little flower starts to emanate, and Shukaku even says, Gaara, something's wrong. I feel my power just dropping. It's leaving me. I can't explain it. As he falls to the ground, Shukaku is panting. Gaara even feels his chakra starting to be siphoned out of him. As Naruto's not absorbing the chakra into himself, he's actually using the vines to rip out the chakra and just put it back into nature itself. As, to the surprise of Temari and Kankuro, who are just also around there, as they're seeing, Gaara being his shit slapped, they also see the forest is starting to become bigger. Trees are starting to grow, vegetation is bursting forth. The tree that they were on grew twice their size. As Shukaku starts to shrink more and more, Gaara, he's already at this point unconscious due to chakra exhaustion. At this point, Naruto has stopped willingly choosing to take Gaara's chakra. At this point, he's not extracting Shukaku, but he's about to put Shukaku to the brink of chakra dispersion, which is saying something. As this Naruto is about to, this clone Naruto is about to poof out of existence. So, as Shukaku angrily looks at Kurama towering over him, Kurama just goes to raise and slam his paw. When the clone Naruto tells Kurama to stop, he's about to pass out. He needs some help. He wants to at least talk to the kid. As Kurama understands, the chakra avatar starts condensing down, flowing itself, like all the nine tails pierce into where the clone Naruto would be, as Kurama chakra is flooding into him. He changes out of KCM into just base form, or Sage Fox mode. As he's walking towards Shukaku. Shukaku could still feel that Kurama's conscious, but it's Naruto mostly, or clone of Naruto. As he decides to have some fun. As with the Jigan, he compels Shukaku to switch places with Gaara, transferring the remaining consciousness of him and putting it into Gaara. Gaara does. He's tired. He can't really feel his body. His sand armor is just on the ground. There's nothing to protect him right now. Temari and Kankuro, they're seeing this out. They're about to jump in. When Naruto, he squats down, as he looks to Gaara, straight in the eyes, as he asks him, so, now that you lost, would you like to get stronger? Would you like to control that raccoon who's haunted you for a while? As Gaara's eyes widen, as he's saying, don't you dare insult Mother. That is not your mother. This was your mother. As Naruto forces Gaara to remember the very first thing he could ever experience. And that is his mom saying that she loves Gaara and she wishes she would always protect Gaara. Gaara is her precious baby boy, and she loved him, even in her final moments. As the real Gaara, no, not real Gaara, as Gaara, tears flow down his eyes as he realizes, you know, his mom did love him. Naruto tells him it is weakness that allowed Shukaku to take you over. But since they run very similar paths, and Gaara has something special about him, something like Naruto. Naruto, he's pretty much talking about the eye, but he's not going to say it. He tells Gaara, it's only a matter of time before Gaara's potential eclipses that of Shukaku, and Naruto believes this, and he will, if Gaara lets him, he would like to see if he could help bring out Gaara's potential and see if he could do something to what Naruto did. Gaara's confused as he's saying, you have a raccoon that could pretty much gather nature chakra for you while you stall for time, right? I'm pretty sure the activation of Senjutsu with your Biju's chakra would be more than enough to compensate for this loss. The Sand Village isn't weak, I know that much. As, he body flickers, he goes to where Temari and Conqueror, as he would just nudge Conqueror off the tree, which, Temari would scream because she didn't even sense Naruto again, too fast for her to react. As, he would disappear again, as Temari, she's about to fall, as Naruto, he's hanging from the tree when he grabs her. He's holding her bridal style, as, he's saying, I like holding you like this, as he would body flicker in front of Gaara. Conqueror would crawl himself up from the floor that he had just met as, 26%, not bad. As Naruto, he places Temari down. As he looks at the sand trio, he's saying, hey, I just, wiped out your whole sand army, stopped your brother, and I'm pretty sure Orochimaru is either dead or ran away like a bitch. So, I pose this. Here in a few months, no more than a year, if honest, when I leave the village to go on my training, Achoo! Oh, that shit hurted it. As Naruto saying, as I will go to leave my village to train, he says if they want him to, he could stop by the sand. He's not too really bothered by heat, so maybe he could help help show Gaara control over the Shukaku. He even offers the aid of someone he knows. Someone who's supposedly a seal master that could probably help tighten the hold that Gaara would have on Shukaku. It's the Sannin Jiraiya, who Naruto hates to admit it, but supposedly it's his godfather. He doesn't really care. He was never really there to train him. Their eyes widen saying, wait, you weren't trained by him, but he was your godfather? As Naruto saying, yeah, and now he's probably gonna want to train me, but there's nothing he can show me. I already have Sage Mode, and my Sage Mode is pretty much a better version of his and Orochimaru's combined. So, He even points to Gaara, saying since his was pretty much shifted through Kurama to help him with his jutsu, chances are Shukaku could help make a Sage Mode for Gaara. Which Gaara, he chuckles, but he likes the idea. As Temari asks him, could she learn Sage Mode? As Naruto saying, I mean, what kind? As, she asks for the Fox Sage Mode. Even though she doesn't have the Nine-Tails Fox, could she learn a Sage Mode like his, since his is already something that's made? Since The whole trying to learn the raccoon siege mode with Gaara without actually having the raccoon is probably going to be harder than her trying to learn a fox siege mode that's already completed. As Naruto saying, sure, you would have to summon the fox summoning contract, along with, the exposure of fox sage chakra. Which, Temari would say, sure, but how would I go by that? As Naruto saying, he has a way, but, you know, it's only if she's serious. Okay. So Temari would nod, saying yes, she is serious, as, he would tell Kankuro and Gaara to, give him a minute, as Naruto would take Temari, body flicker away. He then, while they're up in a tree, as Temari, she's nervous, as she's saying, how does this work? As Naruto's saying, just, show your neck a little. She does, as Naruto, he just casually sticks two claws in her neck. It hurts her, as she feels a burning sensation, as her body is now being flooded with the fox seeds chakra. Now, from here, he pulls his claws out, places his hand over them, and heals the wound. Her body has now been exposed to some fox seeds chakra. There's some dormant within her, and is it like Kurama's chakra? Nah. Is it like the curse mark? Nah. It's just going to be kind of like how a vaccine is. You're exposed to it a little bit, your body will now naturally start to make it, as this naturally allows her body to open Sage Chakra, but Naruto's saying this is, how it feels when you have it flooding throughout your whole body, as, from the place where he had his hand, he grabs the back of her head, pulls her in, and kisses her. He gives her a decent tongue battle, tongue lashing, tonsil hooky, tongue wrestling. He puts her tongue in a tongue hold, chill, as he's chatting this shit up. That's horrible, as, he pulls away. It was no more than a 10-second kiss, as Temari's blushing. Her eyes actually are glowing red, but there's no distinguished change in the pupil. It's just the flood of chakra, which she feels. She then passes out in Naruto's arms, as Naruto would carry her, Naruto style, back to them, and then explain how the reason why he didn't want them to see is because he pretty much had to stab his hand through their sister's stomach and pump his chakra through. So, yeah. And, yeah, of course, they look at Naruto angrily as he's saying, come on, how would you guys feel if you see me, just ram my hand through your sister's gut? Clearly, y'all are gonna want to try and hurt me. She's going to be fine. As, he's saying, in like a day or two, she'll wake up. The chakra that he just gave her has to properly be absorbed through her body for her to naturally be able to come to it. It's not like a Sasuke's, excruciating pain. It's just she's forced into a hibernation sleep. She's just going to be resting as her chakra coils are now melding in with the fox chakra. Fox Sage chakra. Sage Mud chakra. Whatever you want to call it, honestly. I don't really have a good name for it. As, we cut back to the Chunin exams. They, after doing a few doing a few checks, they realize that, there is no Sasuke. There is no Orochimaru, no Kabuto. Things seem to be going bad, as, they look through. Something was stolen. The scroll of ceilings was taken, but it wasn't by Kabuto, and it wasn't by Orochimaru. You see, Toyuya thought to get in Orochimaru's good graces, she too would need something. Now, so she grabs the scroll of sealing. She would then meet Kabuto, who has the unconscious Sasuke outside of the field, where Kabuto would quickly stab her in the back, literally with kunai, and then use his chakra scalpels to, sever her arms and legs, causing her to fall, saying, goodbye, thanks for the scroll. Once he gives Orochimaru this, Orochimaru won't have time to notice Kabuto and his new instrument, his new source of knowledge, as I ended here. In our next arc, we will go into Naruto understanding the repercussions of his marking of Temari with Fox Chakra, as soon Heat will be in season, and yeah, Fox mating season is coming, and now Temari is part Fox. Yeah, so that's pretty much our ending.